Alright, so, have you ever struggled to build a good competitive team? Do you want to reach the top of the ladder in Pokemon Showdown? Do you want to just improve in general? No matter your answer, I think you've come to the right video. What's up lads, today I'm going to be making a basic competitive guide for you guys to help strengthen your competitive Pokemon knowledge. So, in this video, I will be going over a few things such as an intro to competitive Pokemon, as the title implies, team building, what good sets to use, and finally, Synergies and Cores. I've left a list on the screen of a little more in depth of what you can expect from this video. So let's not waste any more time and jump straight into the video. Now, before doing any team building, it is very important to get a basic knowledge of what kind of Pokemon you want to be dealing with. There are a few different types of Pokemon, such as regular attackers. An example could be something like Garchomp or Kartana. These Pokemon typically have very high base attack stats, as you can see on the screen right now, and would be doing a lot of damage to Pokemon that struggle on the physically defensive side. Which leads me to the second type, defensive Pokemon. These Pokemon have very high base defensive stats and are primarily used as walls in the game. Some good examples could be Clefable, Corviknight, or Ferrothorn. These are typically the types that you would see in the main Pokemon competitive scene. Next, we have special attackers. These Pokemon, like physical attackers, have very good special attack stat. Some examples could be Ash Greninja if you're playing National Dex, Dragapult, or Kyurem. Finally, we have some especially defensive models. Like defensive ones, these have very high special defense stats. Some examples could be Blissey, Toxapex, or Slowking. I'll really quickly go over two aspects of stats that are very crucial to the competitive scene. EVs, which are effort values, and IVs, which are individual values. EVs are numbers that are able to increase a base stat point by 1 point. Every 4 EVs in a particular stat is equal to 1 stat point increase. All Pokemon are able to have a maximum of 510 EVs with 255 max in one stat, but because the number has to be divisible by 4, you only really need 508 total EVs in a particular Pokemon, and a maximum of 252 in any one stat. It's very common to have 252 in 2 stats, and an additional 4 in another stat to get you a total of 508 EVs. However, you can definitely play around with these numbers and get multiples of 4 in any stat to try and build your Pokemon to your liking and fit your team. Moving on to IVs, or individual values. These values are also numbers ranging from 0 to 31 that tell you the quality of a Pokemon stat, 0 meaning the lowest and 31 meaning the highest. I won't be really talking about much in game, so I'll probably make a video later on about in-game stats such as in Sword and Shield. But in Pokemon Showdown, you can easily set each Pokemon's IVs to be perfect in every stat, all 31s, so that you can build your perfect Pokemon with perfect moves and perfect stats. Now that we have a basic understanding of what kind of Pokemon there are, let's get into some of the types of teams that you will be seeing. I will make more videos in the future, going more in depth into each type of team, but for now I'll just give the number of teams that there are. First, we have balanced teams, offensive teams, also known as hyper offense, defensive teams, a subcategory can be known as stall, weather teams, trick room teams, and finally monotype, which even though not as common these days, it's still technically a type of team. Now let's get actually into the process of making a competitive team, starting with team building. We will be going over selecting the right Pokemon and building around a certain Pokemon. So first, before even team building, you will need to know what kind of team you want to build. Or if there's a specific Pokemon that you would like to build around, that would be very useful too. With our new knowledge of the types of teams that there are, we can now select the right Pokemon for these kinds of teams. For example, if we're going for a more balanced kind of team, you can pick almost any kind of Pokemon to go with it. Let me elaborate on that. When making a balanced kind of team, typically you'd want to have 1 or 2 offensive Pokemon. I normally recommend a special attacker and a physical attacker, just so that you can cover both bases. 2 defensive Pokemon, a physically and specially defensive Pokemon, just so that you can check those physical and special attackers. And 1 or 2 utility Pokemon. These Pokemon can include Pokemon that are able to set up hazards like Spikes, Stealth Rock, Sticky Web, or Toxic Spikes. Hazard Control, which allow you to get rid of these hazards. Clerics, which are Pokemon that heal your other Pokemon up by curing their status or healing them up with their HP. Or Pokemon that are able to just be a nuisance and knock off items or switch items even, by means of the moves Knock Off, Switcheroo, or Trick. For a more offensive team, you want to pick mostly Pokemon that are very offensive and are able to keep pressure on the opponent. Their main goal is to establish an offensive momentum early on to break down walls and sweep opposing teams relatively quickly. Of course, it's not always possible because of teams such as Stall, but that is their main purpose. Defensive teams. These teams, as the name implies, are meant to kind of stall out the opponent and are built around more bulky attackers and have many defensive Pokemon included in their teams. Typically, you would see these kinds of teams use a lot of indirect damage moves and status moves to slowly whittle down the opponent. Weather teams. Again, as the name implies, they are built around a specific type of weather such as rain, sun, or hail. These teams are normally played by first setting up this specific type of weather, and then having Pokemon that would like to abuse this kind of weather, whether they would abuse it with their abilities or move pool. Trick Room. These kinds of teams use a mechanic called Trick Room, which enables the slower Pokemon on the field to move first, as opposed to the faster one in a regular setting. The teams would normally consist of a lot slower Pokemon and Pokemon that are able to set up this Trick Room, and normally have these slower Pokemon sweep teams. Finally, we have Monotype teams. As I mentioned previously, these teams aren't as popular these days, but it's still a type of team, so I will still go over it. Monotype, as the name implies, focuses on a specific Pokemon type of team, such as only ground, only fire, only flying, etc. Now, with these kinds of teams, you're going to want to select proper Pokemon for each kind of team. Sometimes maybe you don't really want to build a specific type of team yet, so you just select a Pokemon that you would like to use. For example, let's say you want to use a Pokemon like Galarian Moltres. Although this Pokemon may look like it is a bulkier type of Pokemon, because of its bulk and its move pool and ability, it is able to be put on a much more offensive kind of team. With Galarian Moltres, you typically want to run it with either Weakness Policy or moves such as Agility and Nasty Plot that allow it to set up and sweep Pokemon. Moving on to probably one of the most important aspects of building a team, knowing what sets to use. There's a website called Smogon, which, if you look up a Pokemon followed by Smogon, you can see all the different types of sets that are recommended for that kind of Pokemon. Of course, it's not going to give every viable set, but it gives you a good idea of what that Pokemon can do. The best way to know what kind of set is viable is to just test it out with either a friend or use an alternative account to go on the ladder and just play around with it. You're most likely not going to get the perfect team on the first try, so just play around with any sets that you think look fun, and go on the ladder and just play. On this channel, I typically like to show off sets that you wouldn't normally see on the ladder or post on Smogon, and after testing them out, they do seem to work, so just because something isn't really online or showed off, that doesn't mean that you can't try it out and see that, oh hey, this really is a good set. Finally, we have Synergies and Cores. I linked a website in the description of a post by Smogon going more in depth of Synergies and Cores, so you should definitely check it out if you want more information on this. Basically, Synergies and Cores are groups of Pokemon that cover for each other's weaknesses or work well together on a team. You can have many different types of Synergies and Cores, such as offensive or defensive, and you can find that the most unexpected Pokemon can actually cover for each other really well. For example, probably the most common type of core is the Fire, Water, Grass core, which each of them cover for each other's weaknesses, and along with their secondary types, you can come up with many different combinations of Pokemon that you can use to build a team together with and cover for each other to build you the perfect team. So there you have it. There is my guide to competitive Pokemon. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, I will be making more videos in the future focusing on each type of team or what kinds of Pokemon you may want to use on different competitive teams. For now, if you guys enjoyed the video, I would greatly appreciate if you smash that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down below letting me know what else you would like to see on the channel. Hopefully this video gave you a basic idea of what competitive Pokemon is, and I really hope I can see some of you guys laddering on the ladder in the future. For now, take care lads.